the road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund.
Awesome.
Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings family.
Hey, can you hear me?
2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through July 16th is spend $30, get 2 New York strips for free. Also, 10% off all beef jerky. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through July 14th, enjoy USDA Choice 6-ounce bacon wrap tenderloin for $8.99. Fairway's 16-ounce packs of hickory smoked bacon for $3.99 per pack with a limit of 4, fresh salmon for $9.88 per pound, and 24 packs of Michelob Ultra for just $16.99. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I'd like Bill to be say next to you, so when you say on 3, he goes,
that'd be awesome. That would be Steve Sipple on 3.
You should be there just for that. That's all I said for 3 days.
Kirk Francis, Steve Sipple from the Husker Online on 3 Network.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Evan Cooper was Matt Rule's dude, right, with prospect identification. How do you think Nebraska's philosophy and process changed with Evan Cooper out the door?
That's such a great question. You turn back towards, Sean Padden and those guys that are in the recruiting room. They're no slouches.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Austin?
Jay, what's good? How's the flight?
It was all good. It was all good, man. It wasn't too long, but I will tell you this: it is hotter than Hades down here. Okay,
that dry heat keeping up on you?
I like to train down here in the dry heat. But when you're not accustomed to it, I mean it's different down here though. I mean when you're 113, 120, just on a regular old humbug. I mean we got in last night and looked at the car. It was 103. By the time we started getting closer to the hotel, it was 108. With a little bit of a wind and sandstorm, but everything's all good. I'm glad I could come in for a segment or two on Old School, brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese and Greens at Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. Austin, I will tell you this. I sent you the article. We got about 10 minutes, so we'll dive right into these Georgia Bulldogs. And there's one thing that, living edge, back with Art Briles and Baylor, Baylor, to be honest with you, was a hidden gem, or at least everybody thought it was a hidden gem where you could, recruit Texas. They started to have cool uniforms. You started to have guys go 1 and 2 in the draft with RG3. And then they had the big left tackle. I think he went number 2, Jason Smith, but he, had a little bit of, injury troubles at the next level. And they had multiple guys on defense, so forth and so on. But the downfall of Baylor was internally, I would say, just a lack of control, a toxic environment that goes beyond of even living on the edge. And then how you have Georgia, right? Where, look, Georgia didn't win the national championship last year. But let's face it, if Georgia played Michigan, who are you betting your money on? Georgia, right? It's just kind of one of those things that, probably would tell you they think that they were the best team. I do think Bama was better. They didn't play better against Michigan, but I think that Georgia would tell you we're one of the top 3 teams, and we would have had a good chance of beating Bama in a rubber match, and then obviously against Michigan. And so why I'm saying that is because they are on the cusp of dominating college for in the next 4 seasons. It's easily it's an easy assumption that if there's the next 4 seasons, they could possibly get 2 championships. 1 for sure. It'd be disappointing if Kirby didn't get any. He's probably shooting for 4, but let's be honest, he could get 2. And with that being said, when you have that amount of I don't even know, like, negligence behind the wheel, and then also, Austin, ever since January 2023, when they had the unfortunate accident, it seemed like the problem wasn't either addressed or guys were held accountable, because the numbers haven't changed. They've actually, the numbers of guys of, speeding, wreck driving, so forth and so on, seems like they've amped up a little bit. What are your thoughts on that and how that could affect Kirby Smart and the University of Georgia, his legacy, and then also Georgia's ability to be, somewhat of a dynasty?
The first one doesn't go on Kirby as far as I'm concerned, right?
Oh,
With
yeah.
the unfortunate with deaths, right? That was the first incident. He didn't know about it. He couldn't control it. The second one, okay, maybe just one knucklehead didn't get the memo, right? Didn't sink in. He's new to the team, whatever it is. All of the subsequent ones, I think, you have to some degree, hold against Kirby Smart. Now, I'm not saying it takes him, out of Hall of Fame consideration, or he's not still one of the
Right.
best, defensive minds of all time. But when you view Kirby Smart as a head coach and a legend of the game, when we think about these upper tier coaches, Kirby Smart has a chance to be one of the defining coaches of the era. He has the chance to, continue to bolster his resume to the point where he can say, I'm the one that dethroned Nick Saban, arguably the greatest college coach of all time. Kirby Smart has a chance to take credit for that, building it in Alabama's image and then exceeding it, knocking them down a peg. But if these disciplinary issues keep up and they end up knocking Georgia off track, that goes on Kirby for not nipping it in the bud, for not being a stricter disciplinarian. It's one thing when it happens to the Chiefs, right? Talk about disciplinary issues, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, in the same vein as Georgia, have had their fair share of disciplinary issues off the field, especially since this last Super Bowl win, but even a couple sprinkled in, before last season. Okay, it's one thing if you're paid professionals, you can cut a guy, say, nope, we're done with that distraction. We can move a different direction. Not always that easy in college when you're supposed to spend time boots on the ground, recruiting, getting to know these young prospects, making sure they're the type of person that you want in your program. And I get it. It's driving, right? You feel young, you feel invincible, you do some things that you maybe shouldn't. But at some point, if the message isn't sinking into the players, this isn't just dumb and stupid. People are getting hurt and you're actively hurting the football team when you choose to drive this carelessly. At some point, that has to reflect on Kirby Smart, and I think we're to that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the numbers are. I mean, I get it. The first couple, and you can't control, and the big difference, like you said, if I'm an NFL player, I'm personally held accountable, and then the team holds me accountable, right? Whereas in college, unless it's a big time player, you're not going to really get much out of suing him. Suing an athlete for reckless driving, so you get an offender bender, so forth and so on. And who knows if these young guys even have car insurance. Now let's take it a step further. When you have a tragic accident, made national news. It probably hurt Jalen Carter in the, I would say, right? I mean, he was easily the most dominant football player out there. If he doesn't go number one, he probably should be number two. Obviously, he's a Pro Bowler within a year or two, and he's taking over for Fletcher Cox. In Philadelphia feels just fine with him starting over, or it's not starting over, but starting to be in that lead dog role on the defensive line. And so with Kirby Smart, this is a chance of you to cement yourself as a Hall of Fame coach, but this is a controllable eyesore that hasn't been addressed. It's almost like he's got up and portrayed that he cared, anytime he gets injured, right? Or not injured, but interviewed. But as soon as he probably got, away from the mic, it seems like, okay, you guys just do whatever you want. Just make sure that you don't essentially kill somebody. They need to address it. Or if they're all driving these cars from NIL deals, those cars, if they're, some Mustangs or whatever they're at, and they're driving some powerful vehicles. They're not driving any like Ford uses and stuff like that. You need to address it that way. I mean, to be honest with you, all you have to do is make an example of one player. And that doesn't mean you take a scholarship. What that means is you shut them down for a while. Georgia has enough depth that they can do it. But ultimately, the price that they could pay in the perception, which we know a lot of times is a reality now, is definitely an eyesore and a black eye on Kirby Smart and the University of Georgia.
It is. And this is where I want to be completely fair to Kirby Smart, right? Because I know you and DP have this conversation all the time. Is it coaches or players, right? At some point, Kirby has to take control of his program, make an example out of one guy, not unfairly, right? Find the situation that it's right to say, hey, enough is enough. You're an important enough player to us that I can afford to send this message, and it's going to resonate and reverberate throughout the locker room. So find that situation, take full advantage of it. But at the same time, it's on the players too, right? Kirby can't drive around with all of his players. At some point, they have to take personal responsibility and accountability. Maybe Kirby hasn't, done everything in his power. Maybe he's, bringing in, or has plans to bring in some speakers right during summer ball or before fall camp of, parents who lost their kids to reckless driving, or kids that lost their parents to reckless driving, survivors, victims, whatever it might be. Maybe that's on the docket. Maybe,
Right.
he has to, find some technology that we know exists for safe driving, benefits and rewards.
You need to put a throttle on them bad boys. A governor on their cars. That's what they need to do.
Right. Whatever it is. I mean, maybe Kirby Smart hasn't done everything in his power, but I can't believe that he's encouraging this necessarily. Now, sometimes maybe the inaction is, making people think they can get away with it. But I would like to think highly of Kirby Smart, that he would take the responsibility for this and do everything in his power. But at some point, some of it falls on Kirby, but it also falls on the backs and the shoulders of these players to finally wise up and make the mature decision to drive fast, but not that fast.
Often, that we got a couple guys coming in. We had old dad. He said he asked it, would Tom Osborne address it? He would address it, but more importantly, you talk about the players. That in the locker room, it would be talk about the time. There was some stuff going on in Nebraska, and we were starting to get some national heat. Obviously, won a national championship the year before, lost it or got to get taken away from us from Florida State. Then 95 team, so forth and so on. And, our lead, Christian Peter, and those guys that, stood up and said, look, if I catch any of you guys, or we hear about any of you guys down on O Street, breaking curfew, which our curfew was Thursday night, we had to be in by 9 or something like that and get in trouble on O Street, let alone even going out to O Street after a game. Because, that back then we felt like, people were trying to target us or whatever. So, and you know what, all that we were saying is, don't be in the wrong place at the right time. You would have to answer to leadership, in the locker room, and that's good peer pressure. That takes the pressure off the coaches, and that's what Georgia needs. And we got another texter that says that with NIL, quote unquote unlimited money, they're going to do what they want. Well, here's the thing's going to change a little bit. We're going to probably go longer in the next segment before I got to bounce out, Eric, because we're going to cover it being an employee, but then we're going to also cover conference realignment with my Hurricanes, with my family's Hurricanes. I'm always Huskers. Florida State and Clemson, possibly UNC going to the Big 12. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but unlimited money can go away. If you ever get a chance, you get to follow TCU's strength coach. I just only seen a couple things where he said, if you're mature enough to accept a check for NIL, you're mature enough to be held accountable and mature enough to lose it, right? The ramifications. And so with the NIL, and whether they're employees or not, there's going to be restrictions on it, code of conduct, behavior stuff, so forth and so on. So, I think, Kirby's got, right before the season too. And, let's also be honest before we go to break. We've seen this, at different times at Nebraska. These articles will somehow pop up when they have, either a recent incident or, somebody wants to get some clicks. So we got to be a little bit fair there, but it's obviously been a problem for quite some time. It was a problem before the unfortunate accident, 2023. That was just a byproduct of the culture, getting behind a car and obviously, or the wheel. And driving way too fast and lost some lives. So it's something that they need to address. There's a way to do it. They just got to put a little bit more effort into it.
I think so. And I don't want to, put it all on his shoulders, but Carson Beck, now's your time to step up. If you're the leader of the team, right, you own that locker room. This is where I think Georgia is missing a guy like Nolan Smith, right? By all accounts, great dude off the field, fantastic student, really good leader. We know Georgia's talented. But Jay, I couldn't tell you who the leader of that defense is. It's supposed to be Carson Beck's team. And to be fair, he hasn't gotten in trouble for this. But he also, we don't know that he's put his foot down and said, enough is enough, right? If I hear about this or you're doing this, your punishment is here in the locker room, right? This is my team. We have a chance to win a national championship. You guys got to focus. It's not Carson Beck's fault, but at this point, this is where a leader steps up and does more.
Yeah, we always question guys, whether, high profile college guys or pros, where you can't, being a leader isn't conditional. Either you're invested in being a leader and being the best teammate as possible. And sometimes it's not fun. It's not easy having those conversations or putting yourself out there, because when you try to hold somebody else accountable, they're looking to hold you accountable as well. So that it's almost like you're holding two people accountable to a higher level than they previous we're at. And so we see in the pros, you like to see guys speak up on different stuff, and sometimes they do speak up on stuff. People get mad, but ultimately, if you care about the University of Georgia, obviously Carson Beck's got a lot on the line too. Even though he's rated as a first-round pick, doesn't mean it's a foregone conclusion, because the quarterback class is extremely deep, and the better that Georgia plays and the less negative press that they get, they're more likely that they'll end up in a 1 or 2 seed in the college football playoffs versus a 4 or 5 and 6, and that could be the path to not only a national championship, but for Carson Beck, you haven't won a championship yet. Stetson Bennett won 2. You're supposed to be a first-round pick, but I'm telling you, when Stetson Bennett comes back, and I'm sure he's been back there to Georgia, he is held at a higher regard than Carson Beck, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. We're going to talk about if there's two Noles in the Hurricanes can come together and move conferences together. Austin, two schools that hate each other going to show up on the doorsteps of the Big 12 and say, we're here with good intentions. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we're going to talk about it after the break. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane. Health LNK is elevating the human experience with holistic health, weight loss, nutrition, fitness, and wellness solutions. They offer one-on-one health coaching while personalizing nutrition and wellness plans for structure and simplicity. Health LNK provides nutritious foods such as high-protein entrees, meal replacements, snacks, and supplements. But that's not all. If you mention 93.7 The Ticket, you'll get a 5% discount on your order and $20 off your first month if you start a Health LNK subscription. Find your missing link with Health LNK today on the southeast corner of 70th and Pioneers.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See & Spray to target weeds in season in corn and soybeans and use less herbicide per acre. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Contact your local Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through July 16th is spend $30, get 2 New York strips for free. Also, 10% off all beef jerky. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay, you're muted.
Yeah, my bad. Old school, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We're back. Conference realignment, Austin. It came out. You know what was funny? It was everybody was, looking forward to hear Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter at the Big 12 Media Day. Now, obviously, that was a big deal. And Deion had some interesting comments, too, when they talk about what his wins look like and what they have to look like based on who he is and obviously what comes along with him. But while that was going on, Austin, you started to, what's funny is like Florida trying to get out of the ACC, it seems like for like 2 years, and they're like, "No, you stay in here," right? And so finally they got a little bit of leeway in a little bit of like courage. So they must have, flew into Vegas, tried to be covert, had a meeting, and they must have took like a water break or something, like a bathroom break. And then by the time they came back, it was already on the internet that they're trying to, go to the Big 12. And it seems like as soon as next year, one or teams from the ACC could be gone. And we had a discussion earlier in the week about blue bloods. Well, 2 of them are blue bloods, and Clemson was almost is probably a new blood, like we call them, right, in history. What do you think about that? Because I think obviously the Big Ten kind of looked at him, and I think it's the whole AAU thing, which I still don't know really what that means. The only AAU I know is basketball, but but so what do you think about the Big 12 possibly getting 2 more blue bloods and a new blood to boost their profile, along with a private equity firm that's actually going to take them higher, where they're going to have more money than the Big Ten and the SEC? That is a huge, if they're able to get this deal done.
It's that private equity investment that I think is the skeleton key to all of this. Why does the ACC not want to let those schools specifically go out the door? They're the big money earners in college football. That's their ticket to the college football playoff in these big notable bowl games and prime TV slots. The reason that the ACC is so happy with those teams there is because they got those 4 schools to agree to a, right now, far below market value contract because of when it was signed, all the turmoil and the tumult in college athletics and realignment. The ACC was able to convince these schools that long-term stability was the best play, not short-term flexibility. Right now, the blame is completely at the feet of these schools for agreeing to it, not being forward-thinking, not keeping their options open. The reason private equity, I think, might hold the key to making this work for the Big 12, where it didn't for these schools to get out of the SEC, is that all of those schools wanted the SEC more than the SEC wanted or needed them. The Big 12 needs those schools in that bump after losing its two most high-profile programs. And how are they going to do it? Money. DP says everyone has a price. I tend to think that that's true, at least to some degree. The issue for all of these schools is money. The 4 schools that want to leave don't want to give up their share. They want to keep the money flowing in like it is right now and even increase it. What's the best way to do that? Go to a place where you're going to get paid, closer to 50 or 70 million for your TV rights instead of the 30 million I think the ACC is getting now. Well, the ACC doesn't want to lose its cash cows. So how do they, finally come around to letting their cash cows go? You talk to the Big 12 and say, hey, we know you have some financiers behind the scenes. Let's go ahead and kick a prorated amount that we would have been making off of these schools. You kick that much money in over to us. We'll let these schools out of their grant of rights. You can have them. Pleasure doing business with you.
Yeah, what's crazy is that, I'm thinking about it right now. And the reason why Florida State and those schools, will be a little, a little bit on the hook is because they wouldn't start to get any of that Big 12 money, Big 10 money. And, they would have liked to get SEC money for at least 5 years. Look, remember how long it took Nebraska and it was different. So that's why they want to try to, still get paid and still be able to revenue share. Now, on the flip side, the ACC is like, well, listen, you signed this contract. It's almost like when you're like, you always hear the stories of, rap artists that, they just needed or just needed a chance, and they sign these deals, and it's like they sell 8 million records and they get $8. Well, that's where that's what those 4 schools are at, and they know that they gotta continue to make noise and try to get out of it because they don't want to miss out on the money. They don't want to miss out on these big contracts before the powers that be step in and say, you know what, we're capping it. So you want to take advantage of it right now. Now here's the kicker here. Everybody knows the story or the recent split in the PGA Tour with Live Golf and obviously in the PGA Tour. And Live is backed by the South private investment, and they have been wanting to get into more American sports, right? They said it. It's good. I don't know who the private equity group is. It would not surprise me that they, that the Saudis might have something to do with it because they have unlimited funds. And so then what's gonna stop them from taking over college football? Because they have money to compete with the big networks and stuff, so forth and so on. So, it's a trying time. I would say it's an exciting time, but also I would say it's a very annoying time because everybody knew this was possibly coming. And let's be honest. I mean, if you didn't, everybody could think whatever they want about Trev. He told everybody this was coming. Mm-hmm. Now, whether people chose not to listen or not, he said it. I don't know how many times he said it, right? This is the state of college football. This is where it's going. Now, I will say I don't mind where it's at. I just wish it was probably a slower pace so you didn't have these stupid situations that if you would have handled your business on the front end, you're dealing with the back end. So now, it's the reason why I say it's an annoying time because, look, we're a week away. I just saw on the, the bottom ticker, you got NFL teams reporting and, college teams are going to report a week or two after that. Right as soon as Big Ten Media Days, they're going to get after it. And we're still talking about where Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Miami, Clemson? Is it UNC? Yeah. In North Carolina, and definitely North Carolina in basketball, where they're going to be. And they changed the landscape of, obviously football for the 2 blue bloods and 1 new blood. and then obviously for college basketball.
It's annoying because I just want football, and I know the football guy in you just wants to watch the games, have something to break down, see people hit each other, where this stuff is interesting enough just to see, like you said, the enemies come together in Miami and Florida State, try to work together so they can both benefit. But man, the offseason gets long sometimes. As quick as we think it comes from, the end of the national championship game till, spring ball starts, and then spring ball through the 7-8 weeks of summer conditioning. And then you're right into fall camp. It feels like a long time. It feels like no time. It just kind of depends. But the more of these stories we hear, and the more off seasons we hear them, right? We're going on like 10 straight years of realignment.
I know, right?
So it gets old, and it's the product of the business being as large as it is, the money being as big as it is. But I'm with you. Like, it's interesting just because it's drama. We feed off it. We need something to talk about. But man, just bring football back. I just want to watch the games. I don't care where they play. Let's just watch football, please.
Hey, Austin, how mad are you going to be when they go back to the original conference alignments? You know what I'm saying?
All along, it's where we're going to end up.
Yeah, we're going to go, or they're going to do the regional thing, and then you know what? They're going to come out. It's like, oh, we've taken the fans and the rivalries into consideration, and we want to make sure, preserve it and all this. And next thing you know, they're going to be back right where originally started. So, hey, I mean, it's almost like Austin. I would tell you this: college football, like off season, is different because the NFL is real slow as soon as the Super Bowl's over, and then you hit the combine, then you have like rookie mini camps, regular mini camps, and then you get like 2 or 3 weeks off, and then you hitting it right then. Whereas, depending on how well you do, college football, like Nebraska, they were done essentially the day after Thanksgiving, right? Then obviously we hired a new coach and coaches, so forth and so on. This is, versus say like a team like Ohio State or even Alabama, where you're playing all the way into everybody else's off season. And so when you're here, like once college football is finished with spring ball, it's almost like the powers that be, the decision makers, they get bored. Like, oh man, you know what? I talked to my friend that's a president over at, or like Stanford. Like, oh yeah, you know what? It wouldn't be that bad for us to fly all the way across the country, to play 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we could just stay out there and do it and really think of it. Now, sometimes you have to, right? I think that was forced. But I think sometimes they only think about football. They don't about the non-revenue sports or just what it takes to travel like that. And we said this yet. I say it multiple times. This is not a knock against modern day athletes, right? Just in general, they are not equipped mentally to travel and be like in a hotel and focus and still held accountable and work hard at an early age. Why? Is because the way they've grown up, they haven't had to. You got to think a lot of kids, and I know this, firsthand. I got 2 kids where I was excited to try to get my license. Now they've been driven you drive them everywhere. It's kind of like, man, you know what? This riding in the back, messing on my phone, and telling my mom or dad or whoever where to go is pretty cool. So what I'm saying is this: that's a small example that's different versus when I was, coming up, or maybe a little bit after, because, you call it being a self-starter or just dealing with adversity in situations during the season, or maybe even after the season, it's a little bit different. So you have to, they didn't really take that into account. They took the big numbers, the television ratings, the brand, like the bandwidth of the brand of college football. In a lot of ways, they are catching up to the NFL. But then in a lot of ways, they're not, because the NFL has conducted business like no other.
And on the one hand, they're right. If they're going to run it like a business, which it is, they have to make money for their own livelihoods. Okay, do what you think is best for the state of the business. Where the problem comes in is that college athletes haven't had much of a voice. It's one thing for a student athlete to walk up to the athletic director and say something, but even the entire cadre of student athletes at a university doesn't have enough sway on the athletic director compared to one or two boosters or
Right.
one or two regents. And that, I think, is the problem, and why we got to where we are right now, is that there's been a lot of lip service paid to student athlete welfare, student athlete experience. But like we said on air yesterday, the court that was hearing the most recent case threw out the term student athlete, essentially calling it NCAA propaganda, right? So the decision makers have paid lip service to doing what's best for these young men and women, but we can tell that they haven't been, and there's been no one strong enough, no one that's been willing to, or there hasn't been enough empathy and sympathy and care truly given to these student athletes. No one has, attempted to stand in the way of things progressing the way they have. And it's put student athletes in, a better situation because their university's getting more money, but has it become better for them? You mentioned the Stanford and the Cal road trips all the way across the coast. Jay, what was your longest road trip in college, right? Did you go down to Texas? Was Colorado the furthest in the Big Eight, right? It's two different worlds.
Yeah, we went to Washington. We went up there and beat the brakes off of them. That's one non-conference, and it was 1 against 2. And the fact that we had to travel that far, we beat them. We put it on them even more. But that's it, man. Washington was the farthest. But I will tell you this, Austin. When I was a professional, we went. I'll never forget this. First of all, because it was the play I got smoked on a kickoff. I mean, Austin. hey, Austin. Here's the worst part. My boy Ray Hill. A big shout out to Ray on Hill, because he's Jamie Foxx's stuntman, right? And he went to LSU. And so I had went to the mall and bought these cross, because I knew we were playing on turf. Seattle's turf was a little different, so I bought some cross trainer shoes, and spatted them up. I was like, I got to get down here. And so we were about to hit, we were supposed to hit the wedge, because back when you're a rookie, that's all they made you do is hit the wedge. And if you made some plays, then it was equivalent of 2 tackles. 1 tackle means 2. So me and Rayon were supposed to take on 3 guys, fit in between both of them. Well, we're running down there stride for stride, because I'm looking out of my peripheral. Rayon gets the turf monster. I can't stop and pick him up. And it literally, when I hit the wedge, I'll never forget, Max Strong hit me in the side of the head, and literally I was out. I was when you remember when Rocky got knocked out against Clubber Lang or whatever, Ivan Drago, and he was falling like that. That was me. And I woke up after I hit the ground. Yeah, after I hit the ground, I woke up. But back to that trip from Buffalo to Seattle was forever. You know what I mean? It had to be it was almost 6 hours. And so it was, and that's just once, right? And we played up in Seattle once, and when I was in Houston. But those type of trips, just imagine if you're at a school like Stanford for 4 years or 5. Now, kids transfer a little bit, but just say you're there, and say you're in an Olympic sport, which is huge for Stanford, and you're going all the way out to the East Coast multiple times for 4 or 5 years, let alone if you do a round robin up on the coast. And what I mean by that, just say Nebraska softball is going out to the West Coast. They'll play, they'll go Oregon, then, they'll play Washington, and then they'll, come back and then say they got to hit it again, to USC and UCLA, and then maybe play Washington again, and then you're busting it back home. That's a long road trip, college athlete, I won't say student athlete anymore, college athlete, to endure. And so it's just it's a good time. But you know what, Austin, I will say this before we go to break: as much as it's annoying and it's frustrating when teams report to camp, guess what the excitement level is going to be? 7 out of 7. Yeah, hype. Through the roof. Hype. And you're going to have all, we need to pin this, Austin. Okay. Who's going to be the first player out of Husker camp that gets the article that says he's had a great camp, or this guy's, under the radar guy?
I think we had one on your boy Shavers already. So maybe that's a cop out, but Vincent Shavers.
Yeah. Well, if he's had a good summer, or like summer conditioning, that will be for real, because there's definitely a need position. But anyways, good 2 segments with my man Austin. We're gonna go try to do some Hoya paranoia over here, Austin. Let's see what's happening.
Go get him.
But we'll be back Monday in full effect. I think DP will be back, and we're inching towards real football. So Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. Be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through July 16th is spend $30, get 2 New York strips for free. Also, 10% off all beef jerky. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through July 14th, enjoy USDA Choice 6-ounce bacon wrap tenderloin for $8.99. Fairway's 16-ounce packs of hickory smoked bacon for $3.99 per pack with a limit of 4, fresh salmon for $9.88 per pound, and 24 packs of Michelob Ultra for just $16.99. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first.
At Doane University, your future is uniquely yours, and our world-class liberal arts education is just the beginning.
We invite you to schedule your campus visit and experience why Doane University will start you on your journey to your future career.
Learn more by scheduling your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit. See you soon.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Join us each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon for Youth Football 101 with Tank Perry of the Nebraska Red Wolves of 7-on-7 football. The future of the sport depends on the foundation set at a young age. Hear those stories and more each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Clothes dryer not drying like it should? Could be your dryer vent. Call Bryant for a professional cleaning. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hey, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. It's official. Wedding season is here, and we know that every detail counts. From bridal party gifts to the finishing touches for the bride and groom, discover our exclusive selection of watches and fine jewelry. Did you know we even offer in-house engraving? Celebrate your special day with a personal touch and a timeless gift they'll cherish forever. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Play ball! Tired of the same old routine? Then bring your crew out to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. Enjoy action-packed home games all week long from May through August. It's the perfect change-up to the typical family night or makes for a home run outing with friends and coworkers. Experience the magic and get in on the excitement. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets now. Unleash the fun.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
No DP, no J, just Austin Orman with you for the next hour here on Old School. And then I teased this during On the Block. The Corner 3 returns your look at college basketball. The question tonight, what's the best season in Nebraska men's basketball history? Not the best team. Not the best team. That will be for a different episode, a different day. What's the best season in Nebraska men's basketball history? I will ask and answer that question beginning at 6 right here on 93.7 The Ticket, but not on air. I will be on stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as Allo Channel 961. Royals taking over the airwaves big series for the boys in blue. They're up at Fenway Park taking on Boston Royals. I think game and a half back of the Red Sox for the third American League wildcard position. So I will certainly be monitoring that. I'll give you updates throughout the Corner 3. But we have another hour of Old School to go before we get there. And here's the question for you guys. Who are 3 players that you are most interested in watching this next season? Who needs to have a big season? Who do you expect to have a big season? Give me 3 players that you're most interested in following throughout the course of the 2024 season. We're 50 days away from kickoff between Nebraska and UTEP on the final day of August. Kickoff the 31st. That's a night game for the Huskers. We will talk about your players that you're interested in watching, my players that I'm interested in watching, some teams that could be on the rise in the Big Ten and across the country, and some comments from Nebraska Athletic Director Troy Dannon, namely that we might be just 2 years away from natural grass, returning to Memorial Stadium for the first time since the 1969 season. Don't go anywhere. This is Old School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from a program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies and hot temperatures. The afternoon high around 92. Tonight, mostly clear skies and a mild low. We'll see a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine and very hot temperatures. The afternoon high around 101. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Highball Bar in downtown Lincoln is open and located just north of 11th and O Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Cheetos on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
Join us each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon for Youth Football 101 with Tank Perry of the Nebraska Red Wolves of 7-on-7 football. The future of the sport depends on the foundation set at a young age. Hear those stories and more each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon here on 93.7 The Ticket.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Evan Cooper was Matt Rule's dude, right, with prospect identification. How do you think Nebraska's philosophy and process changed with Evan Cooper out the door?
That's such a great question. You turn back towards, Sean Padden and Ryan Callahan and Vince Ginta and those guys that are in the recruiting room. They're no slouches.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Congratulations. 5 o'clock on Friday. Quitting time. Not for me. Austin Norman with you, holding down the fort on Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Every type of meat and every type of cut. 2 Lincoln locations you can visit, one at 84th and Havelock, the other at 30th and Yankee Hill. And fret not, Omaha listeners, there's one up by you too. Certified Piedmontese Mercado location out on 168th and Maple Streets. 402-464-5685, the Starter Heyman text line open for you. The question, Sean, will get us kicked off with, who are the 3 Huskers that you're most interested in watching this upcoming season? 402-464-5685. Send me a text. Shoot me a comment if you're watching on the streams. Also brought to you by Starter Heyman Jewelers, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Drop a comment there. It'll pop across the wire, and I will get to it. All right, Sean will give you the honors of leading us off. He says they're pretty obvious, but so important. First one he lists, Dylan Raiola. Yep, I'm sure that's going to be a name that's at the top of most people's lists. 5-star recruit, highest rated recruit in school history or very close to it. For a long time was the number 1 quarterback prospect in his class, might have fallen off of that lofty perch just a little bit. But regardless, a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the class that Ohio State wanted, who got away, that Georgia wanted, they had him, he got away. USC and Lincoln Riley wanted him, as did many other programs, but Nebraska got him. Nebraska ended up with him. And it comes not a year too soon after the quarterback struggles of last season. Just for a reminder of what the numbers were for Husker quarterbacks last year, this is just through the air. Heinrich Harburg, in 10 games, threw 157 passes, completed 49% of them for 967 yards, 7 touchdowns against 7 interceptions. Chubba Purdy threw the ball 57 times, completed 54% of his passes for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns against 3 picks. And then Jeff Sims, best completion percentage of the bunch, 28 out of 47. That's just shy of 60%. 1 touchdown against 6 interceptions. On the ground, Heinrich Harburg led the way, 477 rushing yards on 120 carries over his 10 games. So 12 carries a game. He averaged just about 4 yards a rush, punched it into the end zone 5 times. Chubba Purdy had the long touchdown run against Wisconsin, 180 yards on 29 carries and that 1 touchdown. And of course, Jeff Sims, right? 189 yards on the ground on 42 carries, had the 1 touchdown. We know turnovers were a problem. I don't think Nebraska will put its quarterback in harm's way nearly as often this year as it did last year, especially not if it wants to keep Dylan Raiola around. You had to present a plan to him that he was comfortable with and happy with to be able to get him to commit in the first place and to not make you the next school that Dylan Raiola would commit to and then walk away from. Remember, he was committed to Ohio State first, and then he committed to Georgia. It was never a sure thing that Nebraska was going to get him. And even once he committed to Nebraska, I'm sure it felt final to us. But if he had committed to Ohio State and then Georgia and then USC, would we be saying the same thing? Oh, it was destiny. Oh, it was meant to be, 3rd time's the charm. I'm not so sure we would. Obviously, we're hopeful that it works out. We are hopeful that Dylan Raiola is everything that he is being advertised as. I would assume he's the odds-on favorite if there were odds on such a thing to take the first snap against UTEP in, once again, 50 days. Countdown is officially on. 50 days till we see Husker football in live action again. Training camp, fall camp will open up July 31st. Don't forget there is that open practice that you can buy tickets to for $25, huskers.com/tickets. All the proceeds from those tickets that you can go to a practice and watch on August 3rd, all the money will go to the NIL fund, right? Kickback and help Husker student athletes. So if that's something you are inclined to do, huskers.com/tickets. That supports the 1890 initiative and the Husker student athletes. So yeah, Dylan Raiola, obvious, yes. Important, yes. Next guy on Sean's list is Thomas Fidone. Interesting pick, and I'm curious if there's more in the tank for Thomas Fidone. 25 catches, 260 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Council Bluffs product. The most important stat, though, for Thomas Fidone is he played in all 12 games. Guy that had 2 terrible knee injuries, came back and in his first full season of action, played in 12 games. Things that were obvious, the catch radius. He's long, he's athletic, he's got good hands, he can haul him in, and his chemistry with Heinrich Harburg was obvious. He was his favorite target all year long. What's not obvious is that all we're going to get out of Thomas Fidone? Is that all he is? Athletic enough to get by, but I think the main selling point for Thomas Fidone was that he was an athletic mismatch, that linebackers couldn't cover him and neither could corners, neither could safeties. I'm not going to say Thomas Fidone is uncoverable. He's not Kyle Pitts. He's not Brock Bowers. I'm not saying he has to be, but a high 4-star tight end from just across the river, the expectations were high for him. I think a more accurate, a more consistent passing game can get Fidone up in the neighborhood of 50 catches. If he could double his output, that'd be big. I don't know if he needs to be a big explosive play threat, but if he can be the consistent kind of garbage time, not garbage time, but garbage points sort of guy, right? He's the big, tall target in the red zone. Go to him. I hope he has a really low ratio, or high ratio, I guess it would be, of catches to touchdowns, right? If Thomas Fidone has 20 catches on the year and 7 of them go for touchdowns, fine by me. That works out well. It tells me Nebraska has a plan in the red zone. But again, for a guy that struggled with injuries early in his career, for him, Thomas Fidone, to play all 12 games last year, I think is a huge step. Now let's see him with a full offseason of confidence from having to been seen in all 12 games last year and playing the role that he did. Yeah, Thomas Fidone makes sense to me. And then Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson there in the heart of the Husker defense. Last year, the line for him did play in all 12 games, 29 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. He did have 6 passes defended and recovered 1 fumble. Interesting numbers for a guy who lined up primarily at defensive end. Did slide inside a fair amount as well. But if you're telling me Ty Robinson is a defensive end at the next level, he's got to have 5, 6, 7 sacks at least this year. And I think that potential is still in him, especially with another year of development from Nash Hutmaker, another year of development from Cam Lenhart, Principal Uman Mielen. Those are 2 guys that I definitely have my eye on as young edge rushers. Lenhart is a more traditional defensive lineman, Uman Mielen at that jack position. But Augie brings up another name here, Jamari Butler. Jamari Butler fascinates me to no end. What a career he's had. Last year, 34 tackles, 8.5 of them for loss, as well as 5.5 sacks. He defended 2 passes and forced a fumble. You really feel like Jamari Butler has come into his own as a player. Freshman year, only played in 2 games, no tackles. 2022, played in all 12 games, only recorded 9 tackles, 1.5 for loss. He burst onto the scene with the 8.5 tackles for loss and the 5.5 sacks last year. Let's say Jamari Butler ups that to 12 tackles for loss and 8 sacks. Nebraska's defensive line sure ought to be a top 5 group in the Big Ten, which probably makes it a top 5 group nationally. If Jamari Butler's able to take that step forward, complement the run-stopping ability that Nash Hutmacher has in the middle. 40 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks for the Polar Bear last year, as well as 2 passes defended. That trio of guys has a chance to write its name in Nebraska record books. I don't say that lightly. I really honestly don't. It's going to take some work. They need to take a step forward. But if those 3 players combined take a step forward, I think it makes things easier for the linebackers and the defensive backfield. Augie, I'll get to your other 2 players here in just a minute. I want to stick with the defense for a little while before we turn our attention to the offense. I mentioned the second and third levels of the defense. The defensive line having a disruptive year goes a long way for, I think, 3 guys. First one is MJ Sherman. Didn't at all live up to the billing on the field. Played in all 12 games, but only 16 tackles, 1.5 for loss, and 1.5 sacks. No interceptions, no passes defended, no fumble recoveries, no forced fumbles. The former 5-star recruit that has the Georgia pedigree, that knows what it's like to be in a championship locker room. And maybe that's where MJ Sherman is paying dividends, and I'm not going to knock that. It's certainly a contribution. But for a guy that's 6'2", 250, 5-star athletic pedigree, rave reviews from the Georgia coaching staff about the young man that he is in that locker room, show me something, MJ Sherman. That jack position still doesn't have a for sure starter. Umanmielen, Sherman, first 2 guys that come to mind for me. If you're MJ Sherman, it's now or never. You're a senior. It's your last go around in college football. Show us what you got in the tank. Empty it and have a standout year on the field. I'm waiting to see it. Elsewhere in the linebacker core, John Bullock. Matt Rule has come out and straight up said John Bullock is an NFL player. Now, do I believe that? I'm not so sure I do. John Bullock can be a fine college player. He's got some work to do if he's going to be an NFL player, unless he's, hanging on to the bottom of a roster special team spot. John Bullock, 5 tackles as a freshman, 1 as a sophomore, and then last year played in all 12 games in that rotational role in the stack middle linebacker spot. 50 tackles, 2.5 of them for loss, 1.5 sacks, as well as 2 passes defended and 1 forced fumble. Linebacker is easily, and I mean easily, the position that I have the most questions about on this Nebraska roster. I've penciled John Bullock in as a starter because the staff seems high on him. And in terms of returners, he's really what they've got. Javen Wright, not a true linebacker. Isaac Gifford, same way. Reimer, gone. Henrich, gone. Mekhi Bayer finished 2 tackles behind Tommy Hill, had about half of John Bullock's total. Bayer played in all 12 games, really came onto the scene later in the year. Is it those 2 guys starting at linebacker? Does Stephon Thompson, the Syracuse transfer, have anything to say about it? A guy I mentioned with Jay, Vincent Shavers, out of the state of Florida. Does he have anything to say about that competition? Not only do I have questions about Nebraska's middle linebacker starters in this 4-2 or 3-3-5 defensive setup, I have questions about the depth. Before you could at least point to and say, oh yeah, we got Chris Kolarovic back there, a guy that played some football at Northern Iowa before transferring over. You could say, oh, you have Ateva Maga-Clements, right? An LSU guy as depth. I'm not sold on Nebraska's linebacker depth right now. It's youth. Not going to say they're not talented guys. I'm sure they are. But we haven't seen the depth in action, and even the starters, we don't know much about. 1 full year of John Bullock, 12 games from Mekhi Bayer, but not all 12 spent at linebacker. He paid his dues on special teams early in the year before getting his crack. He was fine. Not necessarily a difference maker, but he didn't look overwhelmed out there. And then Stephon Thompson, how quickly can he get up to speed or re-up to speed again in the middle of that defense there in the 3-3-5? The other defender that I've got my eyes on this year is Tommy Hill. I know he's a headliner of the team. It's not a deep, insightful pick necessarily, but Tommy Hill has the chance to be special, man. You see the speed. You see the instincts. His hips are pretty darn good. I want to see Tommy Hill take on the challenge of being that true number 1 corner and put up numbers in it. Last year, I think you would still argue that Quentin Newsome was the number 1 corner, at least coming into the year. 37 tackles, 1 for loss, 1 pick, 3 passes defended, and a fumble recovery for Newsome. Tommy Hill's line was great. 26 tackles, 4 interceptions, 9 passes defended, a fumble recovery for 10 yards. Tommy Hill made the leap. As soon as he settled on that position, you saw the outline of a shutdown corner in Tommy Hill. And I think he has that potential in him. But let's see it again. Cornerback is such a volatile position. Maybe less so in the college game, maybe less so in the Big Ten. But Tommy Hill's going to be tested. He's absolutely going to be tested. Think about Colorado and the athletes that they'll be able to throw out there on the field. Can Tommy Hill not just be out there, but can Tommy Hill make a game-changing play if Colorado, Shadur Sanders, tries to throw to his side of the field? Think about Purdue. Who knows what they're going to be, but they've thrown the ball around the yard quite a bit. Hudson Card's still there, upper-level guy. Can Tommy Hill make a play there? I think about the game against, Ohio State. No, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not there anymore. Got drafted in the top 5. Still plenty talented. Still lots going on in Columbus. Pardon me as I grab a drink there. Oh, and then, by the way, USC. One of the most explosive teams in the country consistently. Am I sold on Miller Moss? I am not. Am I sold on Lincoln Riley's ability to coach offense? Yes, I am. USC is going to put up some points this year. I really believe that, even in the transition to the Big Ten. I'm not worried about USC's offense. Even if I don't know who the dudes are, I know there's going to be a challenge for Tommy Hill out there on the field for Nebraska against USC. And I think that's a toss-up game. I can see USC turning that game into a track meet and running away with it. I can see Nebraska being physical enough, overwhelming USC's offensive line and giving the USC quarterbacks and wide receivers a tough time. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but maybe part of the maturation process and the next step for Tommy Hill is within the boundaries of the scheme and still listening to Tony White as defensive coordinator, and we'll see what John Butler, the newly minted secondary coach, has to say about this. Can Tommy Hill press? Not press, try too hard to make a play, but can Tommy Hill play press coverage? Can he be up on the line of scrimmage, going step for step, toe-to-toe with some of these great athletes, because he himself is one of them? The cushion that Nebraska defensive backs give opposing receivers, I'm sure, is schematic. But either that cushion has to go away, press up and play some legitimate man-to-man lockdown defense, or if you're not athletic enough, get better athletes. Get out there, make life hard on those wide receivers. Those first 5 yards where you can hand fight and you can be physical, knock them on their can. I want to see that from Tommy Hill. The playmaking and the attitude, I think, would go a long way. Who are some players I'm watching on offense? Augie sent in a couple, and they might just be on my list. Husker players on offense that you're curious to watch this next season. Hit me up with them, 402-464-5685. More Old School after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through July 16th is spend $30, get 2 New York strips for free. Also, 10% off all beef jerky. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Highball Bar in downtown Lincoln is open and located just north of 11th and O Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Cheetos on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
In today's digital landscape, the security of your business is non-negotiable. That's why you need better cybersecurity solutions. At Hamilton, we make it our business to protect your network, data, and digital assets with the latest in cybersecurity technology. Our dedicated team of experts has the technology in place to protect what matters most to you and your business. Stay ahead of cyber threats with better cybersecurity protection. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Summer is here, and it's time for Acres postseason planter parts sale. Save big on all in-stock John Deere planter parts. Get an automatic 10% off on your purchase, or get 15% off when you spend $5,000 or more. Buy over $10,000 and get a whopping 20% off. Visit your local Acres location today and stock up on planter parts and save thousands. Hurry, this sale ends July 31st or while supplies last. Acres, solutions for every field.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and my schedule can get a little hectic. From softball practices to going to class, traveling for games, spending time with family, and catching up with friends, I am always on the go. I want a bank that can help me from anywhere, but also be there when I need them. That's Midwest Bank. They have the same mobile banking technology as those big banks, but have that hometown feel that I like every time I walk through the doors. They make banking easy no matter where I am. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Prodigy Baseball Academy, Lincoln's premier baseball program, is excited to partner with the #1 national youth and high school program to offer a larger player development program with a national network for tournaments and recruiting. Prodigy Baseball has been nominated several years by the Lincoln Choice Awards for outstanding dedication to youth baseball. Come see the USA Prime Prodigy difference. For a full listing of tryouts and to learn more about USA Prime Prodigy, check them out on Facebook at Lincoln Prodigy Baseball or at lincolnprodigybaseball.com. USA Prime Prodigy is excited to announce the tryouts for the upcoming season. Prodigy Baseball is where players in Lincoln go to receive player development, a competitive tournament schedule, and incredible family atmosphere. USA Prime Prodigy will be hosting tryouts July 14th through the 16th at 6 p.m. at Optimus Sports Complex for ages 7 to 14. Jalen Wordley, Caleb Clark, and Mason McConaughey from Husker Baseball will be there to sign autographs and talk to the youth. Tryouts start on July 14th at 6 p.m. Learn more at lincolnprodigybaseball.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the block, stream only now as the Royals have taken over the airwaves. I'm Austin Norman, filling in for DP and Jay, who are on the road, continuing our discussion about Husker football players that you're interested in watching. Let me know on the offense. Believer, I appreciate, I don't know if this is your comment or your question. We just got done talking a lot about the defense, So if you missed that, just rewind the stream or pay attention later tonight, wherever it is you get your podcasts. Had some stuff to say on the defense just now. We're turning gears, changing gears, turning the page to the Husker football offense. We talked about Dylan Raiola. Sean led off with that one last segment. Then we took our detour into defense. So Augie followed up with Jalen Lloyd and then Emmett Johnson. Let's start with Jalen Lloyd because he's one that's on my list as well. Jalen Lloyd last season. Have his numbers in front of me right here. Okay. So 6 receptions is all he had. Only 6. You think about the impact he made, the headlines he got. You thought he had more than that. No, only 6 catches for Jalen Lloyd, but they went for 237 yards. 237 yards on 6 catches. He averaged darn near 40 yards per catch. In fact, last year, he, Jalen Lloyd, and Marvin Harrison Jr. were the only players in the Big Ten with more than 3 catches or 3 or more catches of at least 50 yards. All of Jalen Lloyd's went for touchdowns. He was the ultimate deep threat for this Nebraska team last year. He's a big deal. He's my pick to start in the slot right now. You think about the guys outside. Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nair as transfers. You think about Malachi Coleman playing outside. But Jalen Lloyd, I think, has the inside track to be the starter in the slot. I think that Jalen Lloyd has a lot to say about that because of his speed, because that was a lot of the role that he played last year, being flanked by taller receivers. Some other guys that might be in the running to start in the slot. You would think Demetrius Bell, who they were very excited about, would have had something to say, but he went down with the knee injury in the spring game. Is there a role for Jaden Doss, or is he a corner right now? We'll have to see on that one. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda is still on the team. Is he an outside guy, or do they move him inside as a bigger guy inside? Ja'Cory Barney turned some heads during spring ball. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds. Could you play him in the slot? Isaiah McMorris, how ready is he to contribute as a freshman out of Bellevue West? Right now, the slot receiver job is Jalen Lloyd's to lose. He has enough of a track record of success in playing the role that he was asked to play last year. I think that translates pretty well this year with, either the same quarterback in Heinrich Harburg or maybe even a better improved passing game if it's Dylan Raiola that ends up taking the snaps for the Huskers. So absolutely, Jalen Lloyd is a guy I'm interested in watching to see if he was just a flash in the pan, a fun spark, as he was down the scouting report, or, has he moved up the scouting report? The team scheme to take him and his speed away from Nebraska? Do they play more deep safeties to not let Jalen Lloyd just run right by him, for 50, 60, 75-yard touchdowns? Jalen Lloyd fascinates me and, might be the key to this Husker offense. Augie also throws out Emmett Johnson. And Augie, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I assume you're talking about the whole running back room to some degree. Emmett Johnson last year averaged 4.6 yards per carry, 411 yards on 90 carries, 2 touchdowns, and in 12 games had 7 catches out of the backfield for 46 yards. Emmett Johnson, not the biggest guy, right? That's been kind of the knock on him. Big enough to get the job done. He's listed at 5'11", 190. Explosive as all get out. Emmett Johnson put on one heck of a show at that dunk contest that the football team did at halftime. I forget which men's basketball game it was, but if there were better passes, Emmett Johnson would have been my pick to win the dunk contest. Problem was he didn't get good passes. And I think it was Jeremiah Charles who was passing the ball to him. Jeremiah Charles ended up winning the dunk contest by the fan applause and cheering vote. Maybe if Emmett Johnson gets a neutral kind of third-party passer, Heinrich Harburg had already been out of the competition, maybe things, break Emmett Johnson's way. But for Emmett Johnson to get his chance last year, I think he did exactly what you asked of him in that role. Coming in off the bench, some starter reps, a starter workload at some points. I don't know if the staff knew what it had in Emmett Johnson necessarily as a freshman out of the Twin Cities area, but I think they do now. I can also tell you they're high on Gabe Ervin. I can tell you that they like having Ramir Johnson back, at least in a leadership role. Quentin Ives was the emergency backup last year, the fourth string, as a redshirt freshman out of New Jersey. They like his speed, right? Long strides, gains ground very quickly. We'll have to see if he can pick up the intricacies of the running back position. But they don't feel, so good about any of their guys that they didn't feel the need to dip into the transfer portal and get the guy that Earthquake Glue is talking about, Dante Dowdell. Dowdell is another guy that I have my eyes on because I think he could be what Husker fans and this staff wanted or want Gabe Ervin to be. If you hear Nick talk at any point here on the station, you will know that he is a Gabe Ervin guy. He's not ready to give up on him. I wish the best for Gabe Ervin. I hope he has a long, successful career. Maybe he's the next Divine Ezigbo. But I'm kind of done with the Gabe Ervin hype and conversation. He's had his chances. It is wildly unfortunate that too many opportunities have been taken away from him because of injuries. No player deserves to have their college career go that way with injuries, right? Especially not a Husker, right? If you're going to be a good enough dude and have good enough morals to choose Nebraska over whoever else is offering you, yeah, I wish the best for you. I want you to have a long, fruitful career. I'm just not sold on that happening with Gabe Ervin. Ervin listed at 6 foot, 220 pounds. Dante Dowdell on the flip side, a little bit taller, a little bit lighter, 6'2", 215. I don't know what to make of Dante Dowdell's performance in the spring game, running primarily against backups. Good dude, good pedigree. Oregon saw something in him, but Dante Dowdell saw that his path to playing time was more likely than not going to be blocked up there in Eugene. So he hits the transfer portal. He's from Mississippi, contemplated going back home to one of those two schools. But Nebraska ends up getting him to I think, fill a need. And I think the goal that this staff has for Dante Dowdell is that he develops into that every down workhorse back by the time you really hit your stride in Big Ten play. First 3 games in the non-conference, sure, figure out what you have. Try all your options, figure out what works best for you and for the team and for whatever quarterback is playing the best at that point. Fine, take your time, give guys reps, keep them fresh-ish for the stretch run. But Dante Dowdell at 6'2", 215 has the body to hold up to what we think of as Big Ten football. And even if he's not a burner or a blazer with his speed, I think he's also fast enough that when you play some of these Pac-12 teams, he can match up with them in terms of speed. And I guess I would even flip that around, right? I would hope that Nebraska's running backs are fast enough to run away from, your traditional Big Ten linebackers, but strong enough to run over your Pac-12 linebackers that you might think about. Is it going to happen? Is it going to come to fruition? I guess we'll see. But I still think this offense's ceiling is the highest if it's Dante Dowdell that gets the nod at starting running back. And I hope I just pissed Emmett Johnson off by saying that. Again, not undersized by any means, not necessarily as physically imposing as some other guys on the roster. Emmett Johnson seems like a guy that thrives with the chip on his shoulder. I was super impressed. I forget after which game it was that Emmett Johnson spoke at the podium in postgame. He speaks like a college senior, if not older. And that's incredible. He's a guy that I think can be a true leader, not just in the backfield, but for the entire Nebraska football team. He's well-spoken. He's prepared. A lot of humility, humble guy, hard worker. Love the story. So if you tell me that it's Emmett Johnson and Dante Dowdell as Nebraska's running back tandem for the 2024 season, I think the room's in a good spot. I really do. If Gabe Ervin is healthy and can play a role, cool, great. Anything you get from Gabe Ervin, as far as I'm concerned, is gravy. I wouldn't plan on production from him. If you get some, great. I would say the same thing with Ramir Johnson. How many different offensive coaching staffs have seen Ramir Johnson and said, yes, we like him a lot. We love his versatility. We're going to use him in a lot of ways. And then it doesn't happen. He got moved to slot. Didn't see the field hardly at all. Got moved to running back. Still got buried on the depth chart. A few years ago, Ramir popped onto the scene out of the depths of the depth chart and was awesome in his role. Now, rushed for 750 yards. Looked like he could handle a Big Ten number one running back workload. If he's your number one running back, I can't say the running back room's in a great spot, but he's again, fantastic leader. I think there's a reason that this coaching staff wanted Ramir Johnson around. By all accounts, a good dude, hard worker, can play a special teams role, whether it's returning or on punt or kick coverage. I would rather have Ramir Johnson than not have Ramir Johnson, but I'd rather have a guy or two ahead of Ramir Johnson on the depth chart, if you're asking me. Some other names that come to mind looking at the Husker football offense. I think Janarin Bonner is a guy that looked better in the spring game and more comfortable in what he was being asked to do. Not in love with Nebraska using a fullback a lot, but it became very obvious what Nebraska was going to do when Barrett Liebentritt was in the game last year compared to Janarin Bonner, a guy that they moved from wide receiver to fullback. Again, thinking he could be a Swiss Army knife type of option. I think Janarin Bonner has the potential to be a mismatch against linebackers out of the backfield. You know, if you motion out of any sort of I formation and send Janarin Bonner out wide, I think that has the potential to do some good for Nebraska in the right matchup. I don't know if Nebraska should rely on it, but if he has developed into a stronger blocker and a more consistent blocker in terms of his technical ability, his footwork, and his form, cool. Throw him out there in the right matchup, hit his team with a couple jabs here and there, soften him up, and then, run Janarin Bonner on a wheel route out of the backfield. Sneak him out into the flat where he can run after the catch a little bit after making a linebacker miss or running over a corner or whatever it might be. Janarin Bonner, I think, can play an interesting role on this team. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think he's a guy you want to play through or feature, but I think he's a guy that can play an important role and might have a big moment or two for this Nebraska football offense. That'll do it for this segment. When we get back, we will wrap up on the block, or not on the block, Old School. This is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado. I'll tell you about the summer wine sale going on at Myers Cork and Bottle at 13th and South, and plenty more, getting you set for the Corner 3 here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Play ball! Summertime is here, and so is another action-packed baseball season with the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Bring your whole crew to Haymarket Park to experience the magic under the lights and the thrill of the game. Enjoy daily specials like Wiener Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, and Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts. Don't miss out on the excitement.
Strike three, you're out.
Visit saltdogs.com to see this week's promotions and secure your tickets to unleash the fun.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions. At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
In a world where businesses are facing daily cyber threats, you need protection like never before. Don't let hackers and malware companies compromise your business success. Stay ahead of data breaches with Hamilton Cybersecurity. Let Hamilton provide you with peace of mind that your business is protected. Our experts identify and mitigate risks before they become disasters. As your trusted partner, we help you protect your valuable information. Hire your local cybersecurity experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of your liberty in pursuit of your justice for those that have been injured. My name is Matt Knight, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our relentless trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and Air Park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Last segment here of Old School for not just the day, but for the week. Thanks for tuning in these last couple hours. Old School brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. I'm Austin Norman, and I'm not going anywhere. Not for the next hour or so. The Corner 3 makes its triumphant return to the 93.7 The Ticket streamwaves, I would say airwaves, but of course, my beloved Kansas City Royals on the air right now. Tune in to stream. I'm rocking the Royals gear tonight. Royals have a big series with the Boston Red Sox. Both of these teams sit third in their respective divisions. In the American League East, it's Baltimore leading with a 57-36 record. The New York Yankees fallen on some hard times. They're 56-39. So about 2 games difference there between the Orioles and the Yankees, with the Red Sox sitting about 2.5, 3 games back of the Yankees in that race. And then in the Central, it's been Cleveland. Maybe the biggest surprise in all of baseball. The best record in the American League, even to this point, 57-35 for the Guards right now. Just 5-5 in their last 10, but they have tied for the second best run differential in the AL, plus 87. The Twins sit in second in the Central. They faced a gauntlet of a schedule through April and even into May. But in the last 81 games, I thought I saw the Twins were 46-25, which is the best record in baseball since that day. They're in the second wild card spot, 7-3 in their last 10, a game and a half up on Boston, who is 8-2 in their last 10 games, hosting the Royals for a 3-game set ahead of the All-Star break tonight. Boston with a 51-41 record. As Pythagorean win-loss record is basically the same at 50-42. But good old Pythagoras would say that the Royals have been a little unlucky. A plus 61 run differential, which is 18 runs better than the Red Sox right now. Royals' Pythagorean record is 54-40, even though they sit at 51-43 right now. Third place in the Central, game back of the Red Sox for that third wild card position. Game and a half up on Houston, who's been playing some better baseball the last 6 weeks. And then you get Tampa, Detroit, and Texas on the fringes of the wild card race. I'm going to keep monitoring this first game of the series out at Fenway Park throughout the Corner 3 because it means a lot. The Royals had a stinker of a season last year. I mean, it was one of the worst seasons in franchise history, which, okay, snarky ones don't start with me. I know that there's a lot of worse seasons that the Royals would have that wouldn't necessarily make the cut for some other teams. But to go from the depths of a 106-loss season to the playoffs would be one of the most remarkable turnarounds in sports history. If you told any Royals fan before the year that it was even a possibility, 75% of them would have laughed at you. But now that the Royals added superstar talent, they cleaned up the bottom of the roster for the most part and got much better starting pitching. I hope Seth Lugo starts the All-Star game. I'm not holding my breath for it. My guess is it's Tarek Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. But the Royals have one All-Star pitching tonight in Cole Reagans. Lugo, the second All-Star, first time in his career. He will get the ball tomorrow night, and then Brady Singer on Sunday to wrap up the first half of the Major League Baseball season. That'll put a bow on Old School, but again, I'm not done. I'm not going anywhere. And I hope you don't go anywhere either. Keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Allo Channel 961, or, of course, our free app for your phone. The Corner 3, your look at college basketball. The question in front of us tonight, what is the best season in Nebraska men's basketball history? Not the best team, but the best season. You know, biggest wins, fewest bad losses, best postseason run or resume. That's the question I set out to answer. I'm going to do it on a coach-by-coach basis until we work our way to the best season in Husker men's basketball history. Thanks to the Mercado. Thanks to Starter Heyman Jewelers, Allo, Good Sense, all our fine sponsors here at 93.7 The Ticket. That'll do it for Old School. The Corner 3, next on 93.7 The Ticket.
Electrical Enterprises in Roca reminds you, the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country.